The sun was beating down with relentless intensity, baking the sand to a golden crisp. It was the kind of heat that made the air shimmer and taste like salt. One of those perfect early summer days that felt like they were plucked straight from a postcard. The sky was an impossible blue, dotted with fluffy white clouds that looked like they'd been painted on. My friends were out in the water, already bronzed and carefree, laughing, tossing a football with the kind of effortless joy that only a perfect summer day can inspire. The sound of their laughter carried on the breeze, a constant reminder of the fun I was missing. And there I was, glued to my beach chair, a prisoner of my own thoughts, wrapped in my towel like it was some kind of magic cloak, my personal shield against the world. The towel of invisibility, my trusty, albeit flimsy defense mechanism. I was convinced that if I just held it tight enough, squeezed every last bit of confidence from its cotton fibers, no one would notice me, or at least not the guy who felt so acutely out of place in his own skin, the one battling a silent war with his own reflection. Surrounded by freedom and fun, by the carefree energy of summer, I felt totally trapped inside myself, a solitary island in a sea of joy. I watched everyone else, their easy laughter and confident strides, wishing I could just exist like them, without the constant self-scrutiny, comfortable, happy, radiating an inner peace I desperately craved, shirtless, running into the waves without a second thought, embracing the moment. I wanted that feeling, not a superhero body, not some unattainable ideal, just to feel like I belonged, like I was worthy of taking up space. Mark jogged over, his hair wet and tousled, a wide grin on his face. "You coming in, man? The water's perfect. Seriously, it's like a giant bathtub out there." I mumbled an excuse, something about needing to hydrate and enjoy the sun from a safe distance, and he shrugged, probably used to my hermit tendencies by now, running back to the game and the easy camaraderie of our friends. I sat there feeling the weight of my towel, the weight of my insecurities, pressing down on me like a physical burden, letting another perfect summer day slip by, wasted on self-doubt and fear. In reality, nobody cared about my perceived flaws, but in my head, fueled by anxiety, every laugh was a judgment, every glance a critique. It was exhausting, this constant battle with myself, this self-imposed exile from joy. That night, the beach was a memory, but the feeling lingered. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, no towel, just me and my reflection. I wasn't searching for flaws, just taking inventory of my unhappiness. I saw the slump in my shoulders, the pale skin, the guy who said no to things out of fear. How did I let a little softness have so much power over my happiness? It wasn't about the body. It was about my choices. I'd built a comfort zone that was really a cage. The mirror showed me the result of months of "I'll start tomorrow." Was I going to spend every weekend wrapped in that towel? The guy in the mirror was waiting for permission to start living, and I was the only one who could give it. The turning point wasn't dramatic. No sudden epiphany under a spotlight. It wasn't a grand gesture or a life-altering event. It was something far more subtle, more personal. It crept up on me, a quiet realization that had been brewing beneath the surface for quite some time. It was a quiet morning, the kind where the sun streams in just right and you have a moment to yourself. I was idly scrolling through beach photos on my phone, reliving moments that were supposed to be carefree and joyful. Each swipe brought a new image, a new memory, but instead of joy, a sense of unease began to settle in. There I was, in almost every picture, half hidden behind someone, towel strategically placed, smile forced and unnatural. I looked like I was trying to disappear, to blend into the background, to avoid being truly seen. The contrast between the supposed fun of the vacation and my own discomfort was stark. Seeing myself from the outside, in those frozen moments, I looked like a hostage in my own life. Trapped by my own insecurities, held captive by a body I didn't feel comfortable in. It was a jarring realization, a punch to the gut that forced me to confront a truth I had been avoiding for too long. That was it. That was the moment. I was done being a spectator in my own story, a background character in the movie of my life. I was tired of watching from the sidelines, of letting fear and insecurity dictate my choices. I decided this summer would be different. This wasn't just a fleeting thought. It was a firm decision, a commitment to myself. This summer wouldn't be about chasing an unrealistic ideal, not about a six-pack or fitting into some arbitrary mold, but about fundamentally changing my relationship with myself. It was about self-acceptance, self-love, and finally prioritizing my own well-being. I wanted to feel good, truly good, from the inside out. I wanted to feel strong, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally capable of anything I set my mind to, confident in my own skin, and empowered to live life to the fullest. To take my shirt off at the beach without panic, without the self-conscious thoughts swirling in my head, without feeling the need to hide. The goal focused on what my body could do, the strength it possessed, the endurance it could build, not just how it looked in the mirror. It was about shifting the focus from aesthetics to functionality, from appearance to performance. I promised to be kinder to myself throughout this journey, to treat myself with the same compassion and understanding I would offer a friend. I promised to be patient with the process, to celebrate small victories, and to just start, no matter how daunting it seemed. No more "I'll start on Monday." No more excuses, no more procrastination, no more waiting for the perfect moment. My start date was now. The time for action was here, in this very moment. I grabbed a pen and paper, ready to translate this newfound determination into a tangible plan. Time to make a real plan, a roadmap to guide me towards my goals, a strategy for reclaiming my body and my confidence. A plan for the guy in the mirror, the real me, the one I was finally ready to embrace. Not a Hollywood transformation, not some unattainable ideal fueled by airbrushing and unrealistic expectations. A real plan for a real person, with real struggles, real limitations, and real aspirations. I wanted to be in the front of the picture, not hiding in the back, smiling for real, genuinely happy and comfortable in my own skin. The shift in perspective was everything. It wasn't just about physical change. It was about a fundamental change in how I viewed myself and my relationship with my body. I was ready to get back in the game, to take control of my health and well-being, and to finally live the life I deserved. It was time. The time for change, the time for action, the time for me. Operation Feel Good wasn't about punishment, it was about adding good things in. I started small, a 20-minute walk every morning, before coffee or my phone. It wasn't about burning calories, just starting the day with a win. For exercise, I found simple bodyweight workouts, online push-ups, squats, lunges, planks. 15 minutes, 3 times a week. Some days easy, some days I felt like a newborn giraffe. I focused on +1 fitness, taking stairs, pacing on calls, parking farther away. These little things added up. Consistency over intensity was key. I wasn't killing myself in the gym, just showing up for myself every day. Some days I did more, some days just the minimum, but I always did something. I was building a foundation, brick by tiny brick. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. For the first time in a long time, I felt in control, and that felt good. I knew I couldn't do this alone, so I called Mark, the same guy from the beach, and told him everything. I asked if he'd be my accountability bro. He was all in. "What do you need?" he said. We made a pact, text each other every morning. Walk done or workout complete. It wasn't about policing, just support. Knowing someone was expecting that text got me out of bed on tough days. Soon we started doing things together. Hiking, shooting hoops, swapping beers for basketball. It was exercise, but it felt like hanging out. We replaced old habits with new active ones and had a blast. Mark helped me navigate social situations too. A subtle nod at a barbecue was all I needed. He never shamed me, just supported me. Having a friend on the journey turned a lonely struggle into a shared adventure. It made all the difference. No amount of push-ups could undo a terrible diet, but I wasn't about to eat kale for every meal. So I started the kitchen counter revolution. Make healthy food easy, junk food hard. I moved chips and cookies to the back of the pantry, put fruit front and center. Washed and cut veggies went on the top fridge shelf. When I wanted a snack, the healthy stuff was easiest to grab. I made simple swaps. Sparkling water for soda, oatmeal for sugary cereal, turkey sandwiches for greasy takeout. Nothing fancy, just easy changes that didn't feel like a diet. I learned to cook a few healthy meals I actually liked. Baked chicken, roasted veggies, chili. Cooking gave me control and a sense of accomplishment. The kitchen became a place of empowerment, not temptation. It was a slow, steady revolution. One healthy snack at a time. I wasn't perfect, but I was making progress, and that was enough. About a month into this journey, after the initial excitement had settled and the reality of the commitment began to sink in, I hit the wall. It felt like running headfirst into an invisible barrier, a point where my energy reserves were completely depleted. The initial excitement faded, replaced by a sense of weariness and a growing lack of enthusiasm. The routine, once invigorating, now felt like a monotonous grind. Each step, each repetition felt heavier than the last. One particularly gloomy, rain-streaked morning, I almost skipped my walk. The thought of staying in bed, warm and comfortable, was incredibly tempting. The voice in my head started whispering doubts. What's the point? Is this really worth it? It was the voice of resistance trying to pull me back into my old habits. Then, as if on cue, Mark texted, "Walk done. Your turn, bro." A simple message, but it was exactly what I needed in that moment. That little push, that reminder of my commitment, got me moving. It broke through the inertia and propelled me out the door. I learned a valuable lesson that day. Motivation isn't a constant companion. It ebbs and flows, and there will be times when it completely disappears. That's when you have to rely on discipline and habit to carry you through. You need to build a foundation of consistent action that doesn't depend on feeling motivated. Discipline is simply doing what you said you'd do, making a promise to yourself and keeping it, even when you don't feel like it, even when every fiber of your being is screaming for you to stop. I started reframing those tough days, seeing them not as failures or setbacks, but as opportunities to test my resolve and build mental strength. Every time I chose the walk over the snooze button, every time I pushed through the discomfort, it was a win, a small victory in the larger battle against my old habits. To reinforce this, I started keeping a journal, not just of my weight, which could be discouraging, but of my wins, no matter how small. Walked in the rain, even though I really didn't want to. Said no to donuts at the office, that was tough. Drank water instead of soda with lunch. Looking back at those entries, I started to see real progress, a pattern of positive choices that was building momentum. It was progress that wasn't always immediately visible, especially when it didn't show on the scale. I realized that success wasn't solely defined by losing pounds or inches. It was about showing up consistently, day after day, and making those small, positive choices. I was discovering that I was stronger than my excuses, more resilient than I had ever given myself credit for. These seemingly insignificant moments, these small victories, built real confidence, a deep-seated belief in my ability to achieve my goals. I wasn't just climbing over the wall of resistance and self-doubt. I was systematically taking it apart, brick by brick, dismantling the limiting beliefs that had held me back for so long. The journey was undeniably hard, filled with challenges and moments where I questioned my ability to continue. But with each small victory, with each act of discipline, I was proving to myself that I could do it, that I was capable of achieving lasting change. And that realization, that newfound belief in myself, changed everything. It transformed the journey from a daunting task into an empowering experience. The changes were slow but real. I caught my reflection and noticed I was standing taller. Carrying groceries was easier, my jeans felt looser. The biggest change was mental. The self-critical voice got quieter. A kinder, more encouraging voice took its place. I saw the guy who walked in the rain, who learned to cook, who kept showing up. Confidence spilled into other areas. I spoke up more, tried new things, said yes to invitations. Taking control of my health meant taking control of my life. I wasn't a passenger anymore. I was driving. Perfection was never the goal. I still ate pizza, still skipped workouts sometimes, but I didn't let it derail me. I just got back on track. I was building a lifestyle, not running a sprint. Progress, not perfection. And I was finally proud of the journey. A couple months later, we were back at the same beach. This time, I didn't clutch my towel like a shield. I dropped my bag, kicked off my sandals, and pulled my shirt off without a second thought. I felt the sun on my skin. Freedom. I wasn't shredded, but I was stronger, healthier, and more confident. I'd built self-respect, proven I could set a goal and stick to it. Mark tossed the football. "You in?" "Yeah, man," I yelled, running toward the water, grinning. I dove into a wave, laughing, fully present in the moment. I spent the afternoon playing, swimming, and laughing with my friends. As the sun set, I sat on my towel, not hiding under it. I realized the goal was never about changing my body to fit in. It was about changing my mindset so I could finally enjoy the beach. It wasn't about what others saw. It was about how I felt, and I felt happy, strong, and free.